It's a big hit station, first thing on a Friday morning. This is Zest Breakfast with me, Jeff, and it is an absolute pleasure right now to welcome onto the show a man that I've loved since he burst onto the scene for us back in 1996 with the album Come Find Yourself. Unbelievably, that was 30 years ago now. But this guy is a man of many talents and many roles: music, DJ, presenter, author. But to me, he'll always just be the original, the OG fun-loving criminal. It's Mr. Huey Morgan.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you very much for having me. That's one hell of an intro, brother.
How are you this morning, Huey?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm kind of in the middle of writing a play. It's called Putin's Priest, and it's about this Russian Orthodox priest and the CIA. It's pretty interesting.
Wow. Well, I should have added that to the intro then, shouldn't I? He's also a playwright. You're adding
Well,
jobs
I'm a
as we
writer.
speak.
I'm a writer.
Well, actually, that's where I want to start with the writing. I've recently finished your book. Well, I've actually read your book sort of twice, Huey, because I started reading it. And then when I found out that you'd read it, or the audiobook version, I wanted to hear you tell the stories. And I did not regret that move at all. What a book that is. How hard was the experience? Because your recall is unbelievable, Huey, with your stories.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, the idea behind the book, right? I figured I'd streamline it and pick a really good period of my life. Yeah. So I thought a period of my life that a lot happened in was by the time when I got out of the Marines. I was a homeless vet. My head was all messed up with all a bunch of trauma and stuff. And I had an idea about being a musician. And that's why I figured it's a great place to start the book. And I figured a great place to end the book is while I'm on the airplane with you two after we tour with them. So that was kind of like the bookend. So it's like a 4 or 5 year period. And in doing so, it was kind of hard because, you know, you go into a room that you haven't been in 30 years, as you mentioned, and you flip the lights on. You don't really get to choose what you see. You see everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, you know?
What I love the most as well, I would say about the book is, because at first I thought it was just going to be your standard showbiz conventional autobiography, but it is far from that. And what you find sometimes with a lot of people, especially when it comes to stars of music, it turns into a bit of a name dropping fest. And I did this and that. But yours is not like that at all.
I didn't see the point in doing something that everybody else had done. Just like when I started making music, you know, I mean, I wanted to make music like no one else had done before because that's what's interesting and that's what's artful about stuff, right?
Don't get me wrong. There are a couple of brilliant sort of showbiz related ones of the you know, things that you've met along the way with your career, but it was the connections with the likes of Joyce. I loved hearing the relationship and how influential she was for you. But there was one that really got me, and I thought this is a quote I'm going to take on for the rest of my life. It was from your friend Dory when you listened to the Talk album.
Yeah, Dory, man, he's a special dude, man.
Instantly, I went back to it and then I wrote it down, and I thought I'm going to have that in my canon of words of advice, because he plays the Talk album, Spirit of Eden, but at the end of it, he says to it makes you think of how things can be different if you can only imagine them. And you talk about that being a real turning point for you, because when you hear that album, the world sort of musically opens up for you and you see things a lot more clearer, don't you?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it was my Wizard of Oz moment when things went color in the film, you know. But that record, in a lot of ways, changed my life. And I play it a lot to people. I tell people about it. It's one of those records that just gives you the perspective that you need, you know. What a wonderful record.
The book is unbelievable. I enjoyed it so much. It's one that I'll definitely be going back to. And I'm hoping we're going to get a second installment.
Well, dude, I can't thank you enough for liking the book as much as you do. It's one of those things where I didn't really understand how many people would connect with it, and I really appreciate that.
Right, what we're going to do is just play a tune, Huey, and then we'll catch up some more on the other side. It's a big hit station, still joined this morning by the OG fun-loving criminal, Huey Morgan, who is going to be at the Floral Pavilion on the 5th of April with his evening of music and conversation. I get the feeling, Huey, and again, we talked extensively about the book in part one then, but I almost feel like this is going to be a sort of Springsteen on Broadway type thing when it comes to what you're going to be doing for us.
Springsteen on Broadway, I don't know. I was never a big Springsteen fan, but the idea behind what we did was I started doing these shows last year. Yeah. And it was a way for me to tell my story. It was a way for me to reintroduce myself to people because the Fun Lovin' Criminals broke up, right? But the other guys didn't get the memo. So I had to reintroduce myself to people and tell them what happened. So it was my way of doing that. My manager, Alan McGee, came up with this idea, and he said, look, man, they're a great way for you to reintroduce yourself to people, explain where you're coming from and what you want to do, right? Because the idea of just going back on stage and playing snacks and going, hey, Scooby Snacks Mach 2, it doesn't make a lot of sense to people because, you know, I suppose nowadays people want a little bit more explanation with what's going on. So the story behind these shows was I'd come out and I'd tell my story through music, and now I kind of do that with a guitar. And all the stories of the Fun Lovin' Criminals are my life stories. So we tell those stories and we have some fun playing some music. And then the second half of the show turns into a raucous Q&A because I didn't know that people wanted to have this big Q&A forum with me until I started doing it.
Well, there's going to be lots of questions off the back of that book, guaranteed.
Like a huge part of the show, which I didn't really expect, which is great. I'm very flattered that people come out and see it, but it's a lot of fun, which I didn't think it would be as much fun as it is.
Yeah, on the subject of the music, I caught you live last year on that tour at the Camp in Fairness. The band, absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad as well you was talking about getting out there to remind people, because you are the Fundamental Criminal. The Fundamental Criminals, it was your idea. You put them together. You are the Fundamental Criminals. So it was amazing to see you back on stage performing those songs.
Well, thank you, brother. It's great to be out there doing that. And, you know, I appreciate all the people who roll with me. I appreciate that.
Put a teaser on your Instagram account last year of a song that you actually performed at your gig, some new music, which has yet to come out. Are we going to get a new album at some point this year, Huey? I
was up in the studio. I have a friend I work with up at Grand Northern Studios in Mosley, and we were just up there last week putting finished touches on a couple tunes. So, yeah, I think we'll probably have an album out pretty soon, probably by the autumn.
We'll round things off then now, Huey. As I said, you're going to be at the Floral Pavilion on the 5th of April. You can get your tickets if you go on their website. I'll put some links on our social media too, where you can get your hands on them. It's great to have the Fundamental Criminal back. The book, get your hands on it. Huey, thanks for coming on the breakfast show here at Zest this morning.
Thank you so much, Jeff. You've been an awesome dude. Thank you for having me, man. I hope to see everybody out there really soon.
Huey Morgan, everyone.
My brother.